Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
This week we are covering Playdate news,
Recent indie releases.
And catching me unawares. Hello.
Hello, Ryan. Thank you for listening. Let's get started with a correction real quick. Scenic Route Software wrote in, as he does to correct us every episode, and said it was Space Escape that he fixed the PDX info on and gave us a workaround, and not the Jam game. So he did fix a game for us last episode, just not the game that I said he did. Anyway, thanks so much, Steve.
So is Scenic Route Software our show fact checker, or is he just the Scenic Route Software fact checker? Because I feel like we usually get stuff wrong about him.
We got to stop mentioning him and all of his projects as of now.
Problem solved. Which I think that brings us to a news and note.
A big one.
Speaking of Scenic Route Software, sorry, I'm jumping in here with an ad lib. I saw that there were 3 Scenic Route Software games up for Playdate Community Award nominations. So, congrats on putting out all the games, Scenic Route Software.
Well, we're in the nomination period. You can nominate. Yeah, you can nominate. Yes, a few games. Yes, all the catalog games I think are eligible, I guess, because they're out this year. But yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes to the awards nomination form. You have until Sunday, December 17th to fill out that form and make your nominations known. It's 2 pages. It's a bunch of different categories. You can fill out as much or as little as you want. But shout out to GovBubs over on the Playdate Squad Discord, and he's got his hand in everything. But yeah, thanks for putting that together again.
Indeed. And if you're listening to this show, it probably means that you have some thoughts. You've played some games. Get over there. Toss your vote in for some nominations.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to do our top 10 probably in January. I like to wait till the end of the actual year before doing it. The nominations are good through November 30th, and on December 1st, already in the first 5 days of December, some big games have come out, so they're not eligible for the Playdate Community Awards, which is okay. There's got to be a cutoff.
Yeah, hopefully people have a long memory when the next one comes up.
Right. I wanted to thank our listeners. People were dropping their Hello Playdate Spotify stats in the Discord. And thank everybody who's listening right now for making this part of your routine throughout the year. But it was cool to see that we had some people on the Discord who were like our number, I don't know, their top 3% of our listeners or top 2% or whatever. No top 1% in the Discord. So whoever you are, thank you. Probably, we know it's not Ryan, but probably Nick, I guess. Or...
Do you listen to our show, Nick?
Not on Spotify. Yeah. So wherever I think it's only Spotify users, right?
Yeah, it's Spotify users. But yeah, I guess we're on Spotify. So thank you, whoever's listening over there. We appreciate it. And if you're not listening on Spotify, we also appreciate it.
Well, if there is a top 1% for a person who listens to half the shows, like just half of a show each time, that would be me.
Thank you, Ryan, for your support half of the time.
I didn't know your support was that much, Ryan. That means a lot.
He's embellishing a little.
Don't want to make myself look too bad.
No, it's fine.
All right.
The podcast adds 10 pounds. It's fine.
Ouch. All right. What's next?
The Playdate Advent Calendar is rolling right now. It started on December 1st. Go to playdate-advent.com. There'll be a link in the show notes. And it is such a cool site. It's got like a little Playdate on it with like a little game and a little calendar game. And you can use the D-pad to scroll over to whatever day it is. Today's the 5th. And then hit the A button to open your present and see what deal of the day it is. So far, there's been 5 really great deals on really good games and other products. Today, there's a sale on socks, Playdate socks.
What?
Yeah, from Ledbetter. So highly recommend giving this a look. Really cool project that came together. So again, link in the show notes. Check it every day.
That's really neat. Who's putting this together?
His name is Dominic. Let's see if he's got a full name on here. I'm sorry that I'm not familiar with his other works if he's got other stuff, but I know Pizza God Dev was also helping out with this. Yeah, there's no credit on the site.
Zanya Lasagna as well.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I see the little Santa Playdate. That looks like something one of them might be working on.
Huh.
So
give yourself some credit, guys. Where's the credit line?
Yeah. So I think it's midnight Pacific Standard Time is when it updates.
Hey, look, there we are. Is this? Oh, it's not even alphabetical order, and we're at the top. What the heck? Somebody made a mistake here. Hello, Playdate Podcast. Join the Discord.
We appreciate it.
It's very nice of whoever did this.
It's a secret Santa. Definitely. They need to put they need to sign this thing.
Right. Cool. Well, awesome job putting this together, mystery developer. Very cool. And looks like some other stuff too.
Escape stuff. Space Escape, one of Nick's games of the week, a couple of weeks ago, not too long ago, received a 2.0.1 update due to advice from our Discord channel, it says. So they added new sounds, new scoring features, and some different gameplay features. I've not been able to check the update out. It just came out 3 days ago, but there will be a link in the show notes. Download it now. Oh, Nick, did you try it out?
I've played it. Yeah.
Let's hear the
big improvements. Really enjoy it. And there's a scores summary screen now, which is really helpful. So you can see how far you've progressed. And now I can totally fight with Ryan over how far we get. Yeah. So that's exciting. A lot more audio, a bunch of audio changes. And the performance is a little different, and I don't know if that was because my Playdate might need a reboot or what. But there is a touch of slowdown that I don't feel was present earlier. But the trade-off would be, all these new scoring and sound advantages, which I feel are quite cool. So you get scores for near misses if you get near an asteroid without being hit by it, and for completing the wormholes. So it's pretty neat. And you can change your speed multiplier right out of the gate. So if you want a more challenging experience, you can bump up the speeds to start, which I didn't mess around with. Yeah.
What about the whole being able to spam the score thing where you hug the top and then you never get hit? Thing that came up in our Discord, was that problem solved?
So the solution there, they weren't able to change the hitbox in such a way that it would make that less spammable. So the trade-off is that you're not able to actually hit the warps, and you're not able to complete the near misses. So your scores would be much lower than someone who's actually playing the game. And they may have changed the distribution of asteroids as well. I didn't notice.
Yeah, I was wondering if they managed to allow them to be distributed up near the top as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I always play it earnestly. So
I was too, and then I got all discouraged when somebody chimed in the Discord showing that spam, and then I sort of threw my hands up in the air and said, well, now all scores are null and void.
Right.
All right.
No longer. Yeah, we'll have to reboot the high score list.
All right. You have to send us your receipt for 2.0.1 or whatever that is, if you want some valid scores in there. All right. Moving right along to Zanya, who shipped out batch number 1 of Cranked number 1. And if you recall, their Crank number 1 was limited to 30 copies because that's how many Zanya needs to print out at a time.
Is it, Ryan, you said Cranked number 1. Isn't it uncranked?
It is uncranked. Did I say cranked? What's wrong with me?
You said it twice. I was wondering if this was a different project.
No, I'm just my brain isn't working. So Uncranked #1, thank you, Nick, for keeping me straight here. Is now taking pre-orders for batch #2. So Zanya's not stopping at batch #1, and selfishly, I am really hoping that a bunch more people jump on batch #2 because I slept on batch #1. I feel so bad about this. I was knee-deep in book campaigning last month, and when I finally pulled my head up and said, "Hey, Zanya, how about that order?" She said, "Well, hop on that batch #2 pre-order." So I did. And let's everybody else hop on there, get another 30 so that she can print out another batch of Uncranked #1. Did you guys hop on there? I'm going to put you on blast.
I got a digital version. A digital version day one.
Okay.
Yes.
I have not yet.
All right.
But it'll happen.
Batch #2 is available, Nick, and everyone else who's listening. Also, my last news and note is to thank everyone for their support of my book project last month. That was just such a memorable experience in my life. The support was overwhelming, over 2x'd my original funding goal, which I thought was quite a tall order. And I am eagerly awaiting national distribution numbers and funding to roll in. This is being recorded on December 5th, so not much time has passed since the end of the campaign, but thought I'd give you a little update on what's going on. In the meantime, if you are interested, I'm taking pre-orders on my website, so you can still go to onebiteatatimebook.com, and if you take a look at the pre-order button up top, that'll take you straight to my webpage where you can still pre-order a book. So thank you to everybody for your support. I'm very humbled. Thank you.
Very cool. Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess that calls for another boop 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 since we're moving on to our indie inventory.
We got a lot of big games this week, Ryan and Nick. Nick, I would like Nick to start this off because he has played a little bit of Initial Daydream by James Gameboy. James Gameboy provided us with copies. Thank you so much. But Nick has played it a little bit. Can you talk about it, Nick?
Yes, it's got a beautiful title screen, and I have played a few minutes into a few minutes into the game, not very far. It looks really cool. I'm extremely interested in getting further into it, but I haven't had a chance to
pass the title screen.
Well, I got past the title screen, Ryan. But I haven't gotten super deep into it yet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We got plenty of time. It just came out this week. It's $5 right now on itch. There'll be a link in the show notes. It takes inspiration from NES classics like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. It's an old school JRPG. And it looks like it takes between 1 and 3 hours to finish. If you're stuck, you can leave a comment on the itch page and they'll help you out. There's also a save system, so you can save and continue. But yeah, it looks great. I am looking forward to jumping into that too.
Boy, they're speaking my language, and when they say Dragon Warrior, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. I was going to look up how to pronounce the next game. While I do that, I'll move ahead. Have you guys seen Detective Face by Subpixel? This one came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you posted it in the Discord yesterday, I think.
Okay.
Looked very interesting. It reminded me of the board game Guess Who?
Yeah. That's
but
what it seems to be.
Yeah, in Playdate form.
Yeah, you pass and play the Playdate.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. And it has little hashtags underneath the faces to, I guess, really narrow it down. Hey, does your person like going to the gym? Yeah, sure. Or no, I don't know. I don't know how many faces are in here. I was looking to see, but there are little pictures and the wallpaper on the itch page, and it looks like it goes up into the 20s at least. So there's at least 20 different cards. Oddly enough, I've been playing a lot of Guess Who on Fortnite lately, and it's pretty fun. And obviously kids know how to pick it up. So I am planning on trying this out with the kids. And it looks really smooth. The animations are great. The art's really cool. So interesting game, came out of nowhere. It's $8 right now. Detective Face.
So I'm not familiar with Guess Who.
What?
Is that like a? It's sort of given me reservation.
Lord.
What is this? Yeah.
Old Man Ryan strikes
Reservation
again.
Dog. Is
What?
that what it's called? What is the thing called?
Reservation?
No, not. Oh my God, I'm thinking my mind is
Playdate
totally
game.
scrambled.
Don,
Recommendation dog.
Recommendation Dog. Oh my God, I was getting it mixed up with a television show that Candace and I watch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Recommendation Dog.
Thank you. Jiminy, I'll see you guys next episode. All right, I'm out.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know that it's guess who doesn't really play like Recommendation Dog.
I was sort of getting that vibe from like the scrolling faces, and you're looking for someone in particular with some particular attributes to them.
Yeah.
No?
Recommendation Dog had a really strict time aspect to it. And I do see a timer on the screen in here.
Yeah.
Typically, Guess Who does not have a time angle to it. Like, it's like, oh, does your guy have red hair? No. So then you flip all the people with red hair down on Guess Who.
Oh, that game.
Yeah. I was like, come on, Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan had a penny whistle and a hoop. That's all he had until he was 30.
Don't forget the stick and the rock.
Did I mention I'm very bad at names?
Oh, well, this would not be a good game for you. Well, I don't know. It's Detective Face. You could just focus on the face part.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, if you think this game is like Recommendation Dog or the television show Reservation Dogs, please let us know in our Discord.
Very different things. All right. A half hour on Detective Face, $8. Alan Dang released 2 games recently for $288, a game called XXOO. I did play a little bit of this. The idea is you're putting X's and O's on a board. There cannot be 3 consecutive X's or O's, and each row or column has to have an equal number of X's and O's. So the rub here,
It's like single player tic-tac-toe with rules to make it interesting.
Kind of.
With a little Sudoku mixed in for good measure.
It starts with some characters already on the board, some X's and O's already there. And the gameplay is real easy. You push A to place an O, B to push an X. But if you don't do it the way the game logic thinks you're supposed to do it, it doesn't count it as a win. Does that make sense? Like, I have played it correctly and I double check, triple check the board. But I guess because I did it in a different configuration than the answer key, it doesn't count.
It didn't count on there being multiple solutions for a given puzzle.
I guess.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
And that happened pretty quick. It was like the second or third puzzle. And so at first I was like, oh, this game's awesome. And then right away I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Don is an out-of-the-box thinker.
Maybe.
And I suspect that could be addressed in an update. You probably just hit on something they didn't expect.
Yeah. I think it could be. It looks like there have been a couple updates for it. So I'll revisit. But
and it looks like
cool.
Alan Dang is pretty responsive in the comments section. As soon as somebody comments, he's commenting right back.
Okay.
As recently as less than 2 weeks ago.
Well, it just came out this week, so I'll hop on it. Or maybe it came out the week before.
Yeah,
anyway,
week before.
I'll get in there and nag him.
Cool.
The next one, is this really called BO48? B048. That's what we're going to call it. It's 266. It's billiards. I guess it's a variant of 2048. Bodie 48. I don't know. Anyway, it's like pool. I feel like we've had a lot of these games recently. What was that other one? Bifusion?
That's the one. I was hoping one of you would say the name because I sure couldn't remember it.
Well, and then there was that one that sounds like a Rolling Stone song or a Spoon song or something. What was it, Nick? It came out right
talking about Reservation Dogs?
No, it came out right at launch. It came out at launch. We were trying to get Ryan to play it a couple weeks ago. You shoot a ball and it like makes other balls bigger or smaller.
Oh, that was one of the indie picks of the week a long time ago, and I
like 2 years ago.
Don't remember the name.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, it's one of those games. You shoot a ball and then does stuff to other balls. And anyway, give it a shot. This is a really good episode. It's going great. From Ringta Dev is a Joust clone, but it's not Joust, the classic arcade game.
Okay.
It's a clone of Joustus from Shovel Knight, which is similar to, I think, some game from Final Fantasy, but also Skylanders and Crash Bandicoot, where you would put cards down and then like they have 3 powers or arrows pointing out of the sides. And then you put it next to a card, and if like I have 2 arrows pointing towards the 1 arrow, the 2 arrows win. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you push each other off. I don't know. There's a bunch of games like this, but this is a spiritual sequel to a spiritual version, an homage to the Shovel Knight version. Should I just stop talking? Yes, go
There's
ahead.
A very helpful GIF on the itch page.
Yeah.
I would direct folks there. I wouldn't have understood it from your description, but this GIF is very good.
It's right here in the description. It says, yes, this is kind of complicated and poorly explained. It's free. Take it or leave it.
They were listening to us?
I guess. On the fly. Just updated. It's fun. This kind of game is fun. Check it out.
It looks like it.
Okay. Gingerbeard Man has been very busy. He released prototypes for Playdate, $9, and it looks like he's just going to keep updating it. But every time he adds a prototype to this collection of prototypes, the price will go up $1. So yeah, it's a bunch of like little playable prototypes, and there's a 9 in there right now or more. Yeah, bunch of different game types. I don't know. Give it a shot. The one thing I didn't know and didn't like is when I picked it up, each one is a separate app.
Okay.
There is 13 on there right now. Yes, you'll have 13 individual apps on your screen. I was hoping it was like a package deal.
Well, I guess you either select it out in the main menu or you select it in the game submenu, huh? You're going to be selecting one way or the other.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's a lot of scrolling when you're getting down to an older game. But anyway, a lot of cool ideas there. So check that out and hop on now if you want to get it at a good price. Next up is Rota by Professor. And I don't know. This is similar to another game that came out recently too. It's kind of like Pixel Junk Eden, where you're throwing your body around, or Angry Birds Star Wars. Is that the game? Angry Birds Space, where you're kind of using gravitational pull to throw your character further and further. But it's crank based. And you just stop the crank to let go. Pretty cool.
This game looks like it has amazing potential, sort of like an O-maze, but it's not O-maze by any stretch of the imagination, but lots of circular gameplay. But I'm watching these GIFs and struggling a little bit to understand how you would do this in a strategic way, because there's often times where this pendulum ball will get catapulted off and it goes hurtling past, whatever was viewable on the screen, and then eventually runs into something else. But that just seems like a big luck box. Like there's got to be some strategy with this game, right? Like I'm struggling a little bit with this.
Seems like the strategy would be you need to grab the crank and start cranking before you push your luck.
Boy, I'm downloading this one. Looks cool.
Yeah, get back to us.
Yeah. Speaking of cool games, what else we got here? Don't Press A to Jump.
Don't Press A to Jump by Luke Walls. It's an endless runner, and you can jump, but risk increasing your already bad luck.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. So this one just came out today. I haven't tried it yet, but it's free. It's just straight up free. It looks cool. You're just jumping off a cliff and if you catch birds, then you'll go a little bit further. But certain types of birds will attack you, so you want to try it and avoid them. And there's lightning that strikes that will also damage you. It's got a really unique art style. It's kind of cool looking. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of looks like you're cruising through the rain or something, maybe. It's hard to tell. There's no animated GIFs. There's just still images. But yeah, it looks kind of like minimalist and atmospheric, but representational. You're not just a bunch of circles or squares. It's like there's some landscape as well. Interesting.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing I like to see on the Playdate. Just something outside the box.
Yeah.
So we'll find out more soon. And then last up is Dynamate by Joyrider 3774. He does a lot of ports, or what are these? Yeah, ports, right?
Did you guys read the description for this? This looks really interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it. Okay.
It's a puzzle game invented by Bjorn Carlsen and Jonas Norberg a couple of years ago, and he contacted them to make a port for the GP2X handheld. I have no idea what that is.
Nick?
That's this Linux-based game playing system. If I recall, it had the big draw commercially was that you could run a bunch of different emulators on it. So you can load it up with ROMs and play a bunch of different types of games, but then there were also native games for it, unless I'm thinking of something entirely different.
No one else knows.
I guess we'll have to use the Google machine. Anyway.
It is. Okay, it is the thing I was thinking it was.
Good job, Nick. And thank you for Googling for us too.
It was released in November of 2005 in South Korea.
Oh, interesting. That's more recent than I expected. It also said this game in question, Dynamate, was released as licenseware by F1 in the UK, but only 11 people discovered the game, according to F1.
Oh, gosh.
So if you want the ultimate hipster experience, download Dynamate.
It looks fun. I don't know. I downloaded it. You're just sliding stuff around and solving puzzles, but I don't know, it looks cool. I don't know. I know the Joyrider, his ports are solid, or their ports are solid.
It does look really cool.
Music was made by Don Skito.
Ooh, is that your stage name?
That's a great name.
Yeah,
I like that. Okay, and then catalog games came out today, and then we're done with this section of the game. I have no idea what time we started, so I don't know what we're shooting for here.
Nobody knows.
No one knows. Under the Castle is finally out by Danny Diaz, Z Corbs, Volcano Bites. We've been talking about this one forever.
Good golly.
Classic rogue game where you'll explore infinite dungeons, vanquishing enemies, gathering orbs, rescuing villagers. This one looks awesome. When you move, the enemies move. The graphics are amazing. Downloaded, haven't played, but here we go. Good to go.
Neat. Cue the next pick of the week.
Maybe so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really looking forward to trying this one out.
By the way, when you started talking about that game, I thought you said it was a bro game.
Bro game. or RPG staple. Bros love RPGs.
All right. Next one up, we got 4-track.
4-track.
Matt Stefton.
Yeah, like it's a 4-track.
It's golf in a tank.
Matt Sefton.
This looks pretty amazing too.
Matt Sefton is Gingerbeard Man.
Is that right?
It is.
Oh, mixing it up.
Unless I'm wrong.
Oh,
unless I'm wrong.
If I'm wrong, then it's not right.
All right. Put a note for the next show notes, next episode.
Yes.
Don messed up. What else we got here?
Nick, have you heard of the X68000?
Yeah.
Of course you have. This concept originated as Ball und Panzer Golf on the X68000.
I love that you thought you had him stumped, Don.
I thought I did. It's impossible to stump Nick. I actually played a little bit of this game, and there's like 50 tutorial screens before you start playing, but the gameplay is super simple and easy to pick up. So I thought it was going to be really difficult and overwhelming. But no, you shoot a ball out of your tank, and then you drive over and pick it up, then you shoot it to the next hole, then you drive over and pick it up and shoot it to the next hole. And I played it for like 1 minute before we started recording. It was really fun. So really looking forward to playing more. Neat. Thousands of courses, online scoreboards. The music sounded really good the 1 minute that I heard. So yeah, $8.
Very cool. Well, speaking of action games, we've got Steamed Roller by Chris Campbell coming up next. How many moles can you roll? This one looks like you are a steamroller trying to take out those pesky moles. It says enjoy 50 levels throughout 5 different areas and achieve the high score before time runs out. So that's another one.
It's a Mole Mania homage.
Oh man, don't even get me started. I was just telling Nick and Dawn that I'm on another Mole Mania kick right now. I love that game so much.
Man, this game is actually pretty fun. I played it the other day. I wish it had a little more, I don't know, like a little drive. I feel like I was just going and killing everything without much motivation.
You want the moles to do you wrong before you run them over, huh?
Something, yeah. So it's $3. F Out, an F-Zero type of clone by Drew Virus. I think we've talked about this one in the past, but really cool looking futuristic racer. It is $2 on catalog.
Boy, howdy. Is that the lowest price catalog game? Or maybe Joke worth 99 cents?
I think Joke worth 99 cents is the lowest. And then Crank and Shoot by a really cool dev is $5. It's a shooting gallery. So
Hiro Shildeno presents. Is that right? Hiro Shildeno.
Hiroshi. I don't know. I'm really excited to talk about our next dev because I can pronounce their name.
Okay.
But I don't know. This game looks very interesting. I cannot tell how to play this at all. So I would love to hear someone's feedback on what this game is like. Crank and Shoot, $5. Cool. Should we move on?
Let's do it. I think that brings us to bitty boo boo boo, our pick of the week from our one and only Donathan.
Pick of the week is a game called Made in Wired for Playdate by NNNN. And it's a collection of shoot 'em up micro games inspired by WarioWare for the GBA. It was originally released for the PECE, a system that I'm sure Nick is familiar with, in 2003 and ported to Windows in 2005. So this Playdate port was based on the DirectX Windows port, and NNN gave us a little bit of background about the port. So I'm going to read that real quick. He said it's originally, they said, I guess I don't know. It's originally by a rather legendary programmer named Junpei Ishiki, who originally worked for Compile and has a history of working on a lot of high quality shoot 'em ups like Evalio and Rolling Gunner. Did I say it right?
Il Velo.
Thank you. Originally, it was released for the obscure handheld, the PECE, but that version seems lost to time. So that's why they ported the DirectX version. But that version didn't run on modern machines. So I thought if I wanted to play it, the only thing I could do was port it. I thought it would be fitting to port to Playdate since it was also a black and white indie handheld. I ended up falling in love with the game, and so I'm very glad I did. After finishing it, I tried to show it to Junpei Ishiki, but as I found out, he sadly passed away 2 years ago. This is a bittersweet but very special project to me. I think it's a great game. I hope you all enjoy it. One note is that the game does not run in full screen on the Playdate. The original game runs at 60 frames per second, and by limiting the screen size, I was able to maintain 60 frames per second and keep the original tempo of the game. I did make a full screen version, but as the max full screen refresh rate of the Playdate is 50 frames per second, it threw off the timing of the whole game. And there's 40 different levels. Oh, okay. This is a note that I asked. So I went through and started writing down the levels and counting them, and I got to 29 levels, and I finally just asked, hey, how many levels are there? There's 40 different levels, but a couple of those are variations, which we'll get to in a little while. So I did want to talk about, since I talked about the screen size, I thought that was just a really cool artistic choice. Like the game runs on just a small screen in the middle of an already tiny Playdate screen. It's roughly the size of the clock, I guess, that shows up on the Playdate screen when it's in rest mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was like a cool artistic choice based on a lot of like PS1 games I played. It kind of like reminded me of that kind of aesthetic. But the idea, go ahead.
Go for it.
The idea basically of the game is you are playing a vertical shooter, but you have, if you've played any of the WarioWare games, you know you have about 2 seconds to figure out what you're supposed to do and do it. And if you fail, you lose a point. And you have 4 lives. And once those 4 lives are gone, it's game over. But if you figure it out and you complete whatever the instruction is in those 2 or 3 seconds, you continue to the next screen and it scores you a point. And so the idea on this version is to score as many points as you can. And I think the highest score was like 31 or something. It was in the 30s, the highest score that NNN has seen achieved. Okay, I'm done talking. What did you guys think about Made and Wired?
Well, first of all, I feel like there were a couple of really interesting things said by NNN in that script that you just read that I would love to touch on. So you mentioned the frames per second. Who had any idea that the screen was small because of that? I don't think any of us did. It seems to showcase everything it needs to showcase, even in that smaller area. And I didn't even think about the screen being smaller. But man, does this ever run smoothly? And that makes a lot of sense why it does, because it's cranked up to 50 frames per second on that, 60 frames per second 60. On that small screen. Thank you, Nick. Yeah. Yes. So cool. Such an interesting, workaround there. And then I love NNN's personal connection to this and how much they are obviously in love with this game. And I feel like there was something else tossed in here too that I was just like, wow, this is really interesting stuff. I'm so glad that you're reading this to us, Don, and that the developer is chiming in on our Discord and sharing this type of information. This is really interesting. In terms of the gameplay itself, I thought it ran super, super smoothly the vast majority of the time. Every once in a while, when something busted apart and there were a bunch of little like swirling bars, that kind of slowed my screen down a little bit. But for the most part, it's quite quick. And I think therein lied my hesitation with the game, because I understand it to be this quick hit. You, like Don described it perfectly. You've got like 2 or 3 seconds to do a thing, whatever that thing is. And there were a number of instances where I felt like I did not know what to do with a thing. Like it would say, get the thing. And so a thing would be coming toward me and I would try to get it, like run all up on it. And then kablowy, I blow up. Like, oh, I guess I was supposed to like shoot it first and then get the thing inside or something. But like instructions are very minimal at the beginning of each micro level that you do. And I guess I wish that there was maybe just a little more explanation, or maybe I just need to, I was going to say maybe spend more time with it to like memorize those levels, but that sounds like a lot when there's 40 levels to memorize. I felt like I played this game a significant amount, but with that said, I was still being surprised by levels that would appear. So I guess my withhold about it is that it confused me a little bit when I would get to particular levels, and I would just feel silly because I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And I get most of the time I would understand what that thing to do was after I got blowed up, but yeah, maybe it's just a little too fast for me. What did you think, Nick?
Yeah, so this is a game firmly in the WarioWare tradition, where there's very limited instruction, and basically it's a memorization game. So when you see the instruction, you go, oh yeah, I gotta start moving forward, or I need to move back, or I need to move to the left, or I need to shoot. And you only have a couple of seconds to deal with it. So as you play the game more, you'll start to learn the different instructions and what they mean. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the deal. Is the cure for the confusion that you had is just to keep playing. As far as my thoughts, buttery smooth, 60 frames per second. That's ridiculous. It plays extremely well, very solidly. The trade-off in the screen size is really no big deal, because generally speaking, the screen is not completely coated with bullets or anything. There are a couple of mini games where that is the case, but they are used relatively sparingly. So it's not a situation where you wish you had, an extra inch or two to maneuver around. The big standout for me was the music. And I don't know what you all thought about that, but it was just the perfect, again, WarioWare style of driving. So when you successfully complete one of the micro games, it has this great driving beat that keeps you going. And then if you fail, it gives you a slightly less than with a slightly slower tempo. It sounds like that might be an illusion, just because of the way the music is produced. But at any rate, it is really well done. I very much enjoyed it. I only played it maybe 6 or 7 times on normal one, and then I started mixing it up and played a bunch on hard mode. And hard mode I found to be very addicting, because it's extremely punishing. And once I felt like I understood enough of the normal mode games, I wanted to see if it was possible to complete some of the hard games. I assume it's totally possible to complete them all, but it took me that same acclimation period that I had with the normal mode in going to hard mode. And I really enjoyed my time with this game overall. I thought it was really, really well done. So fantastic work, NNNN. And it's really cool to be able to play this game that is pretty obscure outside of the Playdate. You've really opened it up to a broader world. Really cool.
That is very cool. Agreed.
Yeah, I love that we get to play these games that I think I mentioned in the Discord, every week it seems like there's some port of some game we've never heard of on a console. No one but Nick has ever heard of. And they would really be lost to time if we weren't coming across them from these devs that are bringing them to life again. And it makes me wonder how many other amazing games I've never heard of. And I think about it a lot with mobile games, because I play a lot of mobile games. And once Apple changes a rule or something, then the games go away. And then some of my favorite games from 10 years ago, I'll never get to play again. But then they're brought to life. I mean, these games are brought to life 20 years later, 30 years later or more. It's so cool. It's just amazing that there's some longevity given. It's really amazing. It's fantastic. So thank you, NNN, for dusting this one off and giving it a prominent spot in our libraries. Nick, you mentioned the music, and I wanted to touch on that. I wish I had the brain power to remember games that have a similar sort of immediate sound. I think of Nitrous Oxide, which was sort of a Tempest clone on the PS1 that had a similar type of soundtrack, but it wasn't as immediate with the beeping. And yeah, the soundtrack is perfect. Like, it really gives you a sense of urgency, but it's sort of understated in a way too. Like, it's busy, but doesn't get old. It's busy, but short, but doesn't get irritating. I don't know. You got to hear it, I guess, to get the feel for it, but it's something you would have heard before in like an action movie, maybe at a minimum.
Yeah, I feel like your description there really encapsulates the musical experience in Made and Wired. It's busy, it's very frantic, it does not get old, and it really just I think it's like 90% of why I felt so jittery when I was playing this game. Like it really sets you on edge in a very appropriate way. Like you're trying to get through these tasks so quickly, and then on top of it you've got this driving 1,000 BPM song behind you, and it really does make you feel frantic. It's a pretty cool experience.
I didn't really think about it until Nick just said something. In WarioWare, the further you get into a stage, the better and better you do, the faster the music starts to go. I think every 10 levels it increases in tempo. Did you notice that with this game? Does it do it?
No, I believe the music stays the same. However, I didn't progress far enough to really know for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't blasting out, 3-digit scores or anything. So, I am curious. If anybody knows, let us know.
Well, I think we all made it past 10 or 15. I think I got to 20 this morning. And I did not notice any increase in tempo of the music, if that's of any consolation.
Yeah. And I didn't really compare the different modes to see if there was variant, if the music changed at all. Sorry. I did like once Nick was like, oh yeah, I think he said something in Discord, like, oh, something about hard games, or maybe NNN did. I was like, okay, fine, I'll just try hard games out. And there is something addictive about, as hard as it is, instead of trying to get to 20, you're like, I'm begging to get to 7. Maybe I can survive 2 stages instead of just 1 stage. And even when I was writing down all the game types, I found myself, I was just playing with one hand while I was writing. And in hard mode, I just got lucky with whatever modes are coming up. And I got to 6 on hard mode because 2 of them were just the kind where you could either just move or stay still. Like don't shoot modes, I guess.
It's true. It seemed like it was a little bit luck of the draw as to like when you would hit a streak of really easy micro levels, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm getting a decent score on this one. Whereas so many times before you get or at least I felt like I would get these levels that were, as I mentioned, a little confusing to understand when first presented with, or even presented with for the 5th or 6th time. And yeah, it was interesting to see how wildly varied my own scores were. Did you guys feel that, or did you feel like you were kind of hitting the same types of scores game after game?
It definitely felt like you could end up with an easier set or a harder set. I don't know how they're selected, if it's random or if there's some sort of method, if they're ranked somehow. But WarioWare is kind of the same. Like sometimes you'll get into the groove, or you'll hit a run of levels that make more sense to you. This one, I think, is just, some of it is you need to play it longer to know what you're doing. And WarioWare is very much like that too. The first time you play, you're not gonna get as far because you don't know exactly what the game wants from you. And this is the same way. Some black boxes look different than other black boxes. Sometimes your bullets are basically look the same as their bullets, and your bullets will be overlapping their bullets, so you don't see their bullets. And the next time through, okay, their bullets are going to be overlapping this section of the screen, so I need to move a little so that I can see them coming. I found that with the bosses quite a bit. You start to learn the patterns and whatnot. So I definitely got better as I went, but I'm not I don't think I made it to 20. I'm definitely not in the 30s, but I maybe made it to like 18 or 19. I'm not sure. Yeah, as far as normal difficulty. Yeah. Consistently challenging. Should we I'm sorry, Nick, did you have anything else to say? I think I cut you off.
No. Just I'll echo what I said before, which is that I really love the game. Thanks for suggesting it, and thanks for developing it. And
yeah, cool. Thanks for this passion project. This is obviously a labor of love from NNN. Whether or not it was my particular cup of tea is really beside the point. Thank you for chiming in on our Discord and giving us all that insider information. That was really cool. Thank you for making this.
Yeah, I did really appreciate the dev coming in and giving us a little more information. Obviously, we don't need that, or we don't want to push anybody to do that, but that was really a nice gift that NNN gave us this time around. So, do you guys want to share some listener comments right now?
Yeah,
okay.
Looks like Orkin chimed in saying Made in Wired is great. Really appreciate NNN supporting it and bringing the game to my attention. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Agreed.
Clover had to say, here are a few Clover tips just in case. With exception to a few micro games, you can hold down A to shoot, and the tiny 2- square on your ship is your hitbox. Keep that in mind when dodging projectiles or needing to clear the Enter the Gate micro game. I'm gonna have to look at the GIFs to see what that is.
Yeah, that is interesting. Cool. That's a good tip.
Oh, thanks, yeah, you have like a little window, sort of.
Right.
The current best score is stage 34. Sorry. Nick, do you want to handle Dino's, or do you have a screen? Yeah. Sorry.
I do have a screen.
Okay.
Dino said, found some time to sit down with the game over the weekend, gave it another blast. The action is high tempo and energetic, frantic, short bursts of gameplay buffered by periods of respite. It's balanced and exciting. The game stretches your brain in multiple directions, testing your visual perception, sustained attention, and long-term memory. Mastering and memorizing the microgames requires dedication, increasing the replay value. The music is infectious. It reminds me of PlayStation in the 90s, reminiscent of games like Wipeout, which took heavy inspiration from contemporary club culture. The beat had me feeling energized on each run, even when it became repetitive. NNN has described some of the technical challenges in porting to the Playdate. Stretching the visuals to use more of the screen would be a valuable improvement, but I understand there's a complex trade-off with performance in order to achieve this. It's great to see celebrated independent games being ported to new devices for new audiences. It's a fantastic idea. Thanks to NNN for their hard work here. I certainly wouldn't have seen this title had you not ported it. Thanks also to the original creator Junpei Ishiki, whom NNN discovered has sadly passed away. This discovery highlights the importance of preservation work, such as porting to new systems, which maintains these creations for future generations and enhances the author's legacy.
Hear, hear. Always very thoughtful and astute comments from Dino. Thank you for chiming in, Dean. Marco Hutchins says, here's my Made in Wired thoughts for the podcast. I had a good time playing it, and I'm glad it was chosen for pick of the week. But personally, I think I love the concept more than the execution. The music and visuals did not really vibe with me, but the controls and gameplay loop are great. I'm really hoping somebody else develops another WarioWare style game for the Playdate that has a little more polish and matches my tastes, but I would happily recommend this to anyone with a Playdate to try it out.
Cool. I think there is another WarioWare type game. I'll have to look it up. It came out pretty early on.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was called?
It was like demos or experiments or something.
Yeah.
It had a nondescript title.
Yeah. I'll have to dig into that. And then Gamma Goat commented, my overall impression of the game, I think the implementation is solid. I like the vector graphics and the music is cool. I found it reasonable to understand what was needed for the most part. However, this style of game is just absolutely not for me. I don't enjoy this rapid, short gameplay loop. I can see this appealing to others and them having a great time with it. So, yeah, I can see it's a polarizing game type, and I like usually I would play Playdate at night, like right before I go to bed. Mm-hmm. This is not ideal for trying to fall asleep.
This is not,
it.
Not a wind down game, huh?
Right?
No. Yeah, it has its place for sure.
This is your morning cup of coffee type of game.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you so much again, NNN, and there'll be a link in the show notes. So definitely try out Made in Wired. If you don't think it's for you because you haven't played this type of game, maybe it is. Maybe it's just what you need certain times of the day.
Yes.
So thank you guys. Yeah. Nick, I think you're up next. Do you want to say what game we'll be playing?
Yeah, I'm going to try to pronounce this game. It's called Robotleets, and it's by Deimos Games.
Deimos, yeah. Remember I needed to look it up in the middle of the show and we forgot to talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So that's the game that came out this week as well. It is $3.99, and we had review copies provided. So thanks very much for that. And we will be talking about that in 2 weeks.
Deimos will be paid back when we talk about it a lot next week, in spite of not talking about it this week. And if you want to hop on it, it's on sale right now for $2.99.
25% off. Nice. Very cool.
Yes.
Get your deal for pick of the week. Very cool. Looking forward to this one.
Mm-hmm. This is also not a fall asleep 2 game, though. It's a track and field game, but good picnic. Good picnic.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it.
I think so.
Thank you so much for listening and for spending some time with us. You can reach us in the show notes. We're most active on Discord, but our website is playdatepodcast.com. And you can always email us helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com. I'm sorry. Ryan wants us to mention the bingo tip line. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you won't call and we won't answer the phone. If you want to leave us a voicemail, 724 bingos 1. That's 724-246-4671. And the the country code is +1. Right?
Do it, guys. We want to hear your lovely voices. We've heard your silence as you listen to our show. We've read your words on Discord. Let's hear a little audio. Give Don some editing work to do.
I'm calling in sick that week. But yes, we would love to hear from you guys. It's not that hard.
And I've been having technical difficulties for weeks now. And I just want to thank my co-hosts, Ryan and Don, for putting up with me. And everybody Don was mentioning earlier, who spent a lot of time with us over the past year, listening to us misspeak about many different games and mispronounce people's names and just have fun. So thanks very much for listening and for hanging out with us.
Indeed. You're here.
We'll see you soon. Don't forget to vote or put in your nominations. Go do that right now. And check the advent calendar, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.